So you would basically sit back and say, at NIW, we offer Kaizen. We not only know what your financial fears are, but we are providing those protections to you. In the event you die too soon, you'll have protections. If you become ill anytime that you're working with us or have this policy in place, we will cover for you. If you live too long, so if you live more than life expectancy and you're worried about that, we're going to provide coverage for you. And if you don't know how to pay for these benefits, we're also going to help with that by providing the additional use of the money to pay for these benefits. Now, we're going to tie those benefits, or how much we will contribute to those benefits, to your work ethic, your loyalty, and your length of employment. Now, if you're making this presentation to an individual person and you're not talking about the employer, you don't have to tie this to the benefits. You can just say, hey, the Kaizen plan provides protection if you die too soon, become ill, live too long, or need the use of additional money. So let's look at the benefits package as a glass. And the more that we fill up this glass, the better the benefit it's going to be. So let's first start filling up this glass with those protections, because not having access to money in one of those financial medical emergencies was the #1 on the list. So let's just get that out of the way, and let's tell you that this benefit is going to provide for you a $1.5 million death benefit. Now, with that $1.5 million death benefit, it has a feature that offers living benefits. In other words, you don't have to die to get this benefit. If you are alive and you had a critical illness such as cancer, heart attack, stroke, renal failure, Lou Gehrig's disease, and there's a whole host of additional things, you can access up to $1 million of your death benefit up front while you're alive. So if you had a heart attack, you can call the insurance company and say, I'd like to have a check for $1 million, and they will send that to you. If you have a critical injury, coma, brain injury, paralysis, burns, you can also accelerate your death benefit, and you can get up to $1 million of that death benefit today. If you have a chronic illness, you can accelerate that death benefit all the way up to the $1.5 million. Those chronic illnesses will cover things like if you had a stroke and you need somebody to come into your home and help you with bathing, eating, dressing, transferring, whatever, that's covered. You can accelerate that chronic illness, and you can take out up to $30,000 a month, up to a maximum of $1.5 million. Now, the other thing you can use that for is if you had to check into a long-term care facility, you can just get a doctor's note saying that you need help with 2 of these assisted living needs, or that you're checking into a long-term care, and they will cut you a check, and you can use that check for whatever it is you need. Now, terminal illness is also up to $1.5 million, and I have to tell you, I thought this was going to be the most useless of all of the living benefits, and in fact, I was completely wrong. Last year, we had a lady that signed up for this program, and she was in it for 1 year, and we are right now trying to pay off the loan so that she can access the terminal illness feature. She wants to take her children on a last hurrah. She's just found out that she has a terminal form of cancer and is going to pass away. So in our small little group of 2.5 years that we've been doing this, we already have somebody using the terminal illness feature. And it makes me feel good to know that she's got access to this amount of money. So now we've covered all of those protections, and once we have satisfied ourselves that we have money or access to money in the event of any medical emergency that you could possibly think of, let's now focus on additional supplemental savings for your retirement. And so if we continue to fill up our benefits cup, and we said that we are now going to give you access to an additional savings portion of this plan that will give you upside growth of the S&P market or some other index if you choose. Right now we're talking about the S&P. So you can put your money in this account, and you can get upside growth of whatever the upside of the S&P market is without any market losses, because this product has a 0 floor. So if for whatever reason the S&P goes down by 39%, this product has a 0% minimum guarantee floor, which means that any money that's in the account over and above your cost that came out for your benefits, for your for your death benefit protection and living benefit protections is not subject to any market losses. In addition to that, this account will allow you to grow the money tax deferred. It will give you access to that money tax-free using withdrawals and policy loans, and there's no limit on the amounts that you can put into the policy subject to you qualifying for the death benefit. And it also has a feature that would give you a guaranteed lifetime income. So if you were concerned that you aren't sure how many years you're going to survive in retirement and you live to be 130, you could choose the guaranteed lifetime income option, and it would pay you a certain amount every single year for the rest of your life, no matter how many years you lived. Now, if you had access to an account or the features of an account like this in your 401k, how much would you contribute to it? Myself personally, I put as much as I can into it because in my 401k, I'm subject to all the market risk, and this I'm not. Not only am I getting tax-deferred growth, but I can pull it out tax-free. I can put in as much as I want, and it has a guaranteed lifetime income option. Not all of those features are on my 401k, so I would put as much in this account as I could. However, that does mean that we are limited to a certain amount, and everybody on the phone knows how much they can afford because they know what their expenses and their bills are. So let's stick with that 45-year-old male example, and let's just assume he wanted to do the $1.5 million, and him and his employer have agreed on some variation of how much the employer will contribute and how much he's going to contribute. Or his employer might pay the whole thing. But in this example, we're going to say that $33,000 is the amount that it is going to require to fund this benefit plan for this employee, and he would have to fund this plan for the next 5 years at $33,000. However, I would like to be able to get more benefit than that. I want to be able to get as much accumulation as I can. Remember, I'm a commodity. Anywhere I can get excess money in my working years while I can afford it, I want to do that. And so we also have provided you the additional use of money. And we have provided a lending platform that will allow you to match every contribution you put into the plan for the first 5 years. So in this example, when you put in 33, the bank will loan you 37, and so on all the way up to year 5. Now, the reason you're seeing a variation in year 5 from the bank is we can't put any more money into the policy in that year. So starting in year 6, you and your employer are done. It's a very short funding pattern. At the end of that time period, the bank will continue to fund the policy for you at $65,000 a year through year 10. Now what's happened, if you look at your benefits package, you've got protections, you have access to savings, and we've completely filled up your glass because we've added as much into this policy as we possibly can by adding that leverage piece. That leverage piece gives you access to an additional $489,000 or a 3-to-1 leverage, and those contributions into the policy is the sole collateral. So there's no financial underwriting, there's no loan documents that need to be signed, and the current loan rate is LIBOR plus 1.75. That means in today's market, we're all in at about 2.7 or 2.75, somewhere around there. You cannot get cheaper lending anywhere if you look at all of the different things that you have, and we'll discuss that later in some of the modules. However, at this time, if you look at what that difference means to how much you can grow, if you put in your own $165,000 and you grew that to age 65 and then you started to take an income stream, you would be able to pull out about $42,000 a year, or a total of $840,000. If you put in the money with the bank money, that changes that amount that you'll be able to take out each year by $75,000 or $1.5 million total. Now, let me give you a couple of caveats on the assumptions that we're using on this. The insurance companies have now gone to a new system where they will require you to use a 7% rate of return with a 6% loan, which means you only have about a 1% spread. So all that really means is that if you look at historical, this number is significantly higher than what you'd be able to do on your own. But even in the current situation that we're looking at from an illustrative purpose, it's still almost double what you could do with your own money. So when it comes to choosing for your benefits, do you want to buy protection alone? That's all of those guys out there saying just buy a death benefit and go invest your own money. Do you want to buy one that will allow you to have the protections plus the income? Or do you want to have the glass that fills it all the way to the top and allows you protection plus additional savings plus the use of somebody else's money to get even more savings? Now, this is the end of the presentation that you will be making to the client or the employer, and that's where you can stop. Now, the reason I suggest that you stop at this place is because a lot of agents want to know all of the answers in the event that their client might ask them some obscure question they don't know the answer to. And in fact, that's not the case. Most people will ask maybe one or two questions. They may completely understand the financing side, they may completely understand the product side, and so you don't need to answer all those questions. So what we've done is we've broken this up into modules. And one of the most common